Welcome back. Going to now look at that using the AnyLogic model, starting from the default menu, trying to figure out whether staffing is sustainable from a CX and EX perspective. If not, where you might go with that. It is a fairly elaborate menu. It's got drip coffee in there at 22%, probably espressos at 22%, seasonal lattes at 20%. Cold brew is at 10%, and then there's single digits on the rest. Matcha at 6%, and Yama also at 6% is sort of the next highest, and it goes down to, I guess, Hojicha at 2%. But I think there are 10 items on the menu. So it's relatively elaborate, and the hot beverages definitely more time consuming than the cold ones. So you have to think about what you want to do here. Let's have a look at this this model again, and we're going to run it. But I want to okay. So here we're going to start this out. Just stop for a second. Okay, I have had 5 beverages already made. They were all drip coffees. So here, all the probabilities are in the default setup. We have 6 baristas, really 1 water spider who's collecting orders, and then 5 baristas. So there's no sales staff. There's 2 point of sale terminals. And I'll run this for a while just to see what we get. I'm noticing that, the spider, of course, is on the hook for taking all the orders, and things are heading south rather quickly here. 92, 93. This is not sustainable for one person, right? You can't be working 95, 96, 97% of the day. It seems like the system's overloaded and help is needed. There are 2 point of sale terminals, and if I run this to completion, you can expect this flow time to really blow up. This is a 50% online in-person setup, and 20% of the customers in person are new customers. So taking the 5, requiring the 5 minutes of order. Here are your 10 drink types, and you can see Hojicha is the least frequent. Only 3 have been ordered in these in the 300 some drinks that have been ordered thus far. You can see that we're essentially flatlining here at 100% almost. Not sustainable. I'll run it all the way to completion, and you'll see what happens to the flow time. The average flow time here is over an hour, and this person cannot survive in this role. So something has to give. Now you can see the baristas are only at 23%. If the utilization is too high for EX, you're going to get burnout. And so those folks, it's going to take some time to sort of situate folks in an environment like this where there's high engagement. It's not just the coffee making it, it's also the engagement. So you'd have to back that down to a level that's sustainable, and you can do some work to figure out what that level looks like. Going too low also is a problem because folks sort of like feel underutilized. They may be eyeballing higher utilization, higher involvement, maybe for a higher wage. If you split a certain amount of work between too many people, it's underemployment. So we're underemploying baristas. We're overemploying the spider. So there's a natural shift that this begs, and we'll check that out in just a minute. So I guess I have to stop and rerun this. So we will stop it, and we will set ourselves up here with give ourselves a. Now we could actually dedicate a salesperson and take ourselves down 1 barista. So nobody got hired or fired, and we'll run this, just see how it goes. You can see I've got the 4 baristas here, and I've got 1 spider and 1 salesperson. The spider is always the backup to both baristas and sales staff. So salesperson is is fairly happy at 60-some%. Spider is a tad underutilized, and the baristas are still underutilized. So let's run this to completion, just see where we end and see what our flow time is. The flow time is 4.3 minutes. But you can see the baristas are underutilized. So this begs the question, should we do a bit more marketing, try and attract a bit more, business, kick up the arrival rate perhaps with some marketing, Instagram, socials, whatnot, or should we dial this back, maybe get rid of 2 baristas and try and live at, let's say, lambda equal to 30. These are all questions you're going to have to resolve for yourself, and you have to document your thoughts. You have to be a little bit systematic about how you go from point to point, and discuss this with your peers. Let's try redoing this with, we'll try and run it, let's just say with 2 baristas. We'll actually, what I want to do is I want to put in 1 barista and 3 spiders. So let's do this. So we've got 6 people total. I'm going to try and run this with 3. Let me see if I can get that to work. And that'll be our last example. For this default setting, you've got the other example of a seasonal latte only operation. You can create your own menu as well to explore. So run it again. Let's pause it. So what I'm going to do, leave everything else the same. I'm going to go with, I'll have 4 people. I'm going to go with 1 barista and 3 spiders. Let's say 2 spiders and 1 barista. How's that? I have to be careful here because I only have 2 point of sale terminals. So I don't want to have the spiders exceed that. Otherwise, they would be lining up and potentially waiting, and that would be lost productive time. So if I did go to 3, I would want to increase the number of point of sale terminals. So let's see how this goes. And I'll run it fast. We'll slow it at first. We'll zoom to the end. So you can see I've got the 2 spiders, and I've got 1 barista. Flow time's at about 6 minutes. Not too many lines forming here. And you've got the histograms here. The average flow time, 6.5. It's confirmed by this. And average weight is 2.4. That's from time of arrival to order taken. So you can see that the spiders are at 52%. So really begs the question, could I maybe get by with just 2 spiders? This flow time is going to go up if I do that. And so that's the trade-off, right? We've got some CX to worry about here as well. It's not just about managing the lives of our baristas. We've also got to make sure that our clients are going to still be prepared to endure that wait. So I think I'm going to stop this, and I'll run it to completion and do 1 more with you. I'll try it with just 2 baristas to see where that goes. Or, you know what? We'll leave that for you to investigate. How's that? Hope you enjoyed this tour of the AnyLogic model. We've moved it off of desktops onto the cloud, and the transition has not been all that easy. So it's possible that we're going to discover 1 or 2 small bugs, but hope you are patient with me, while we navigate small issues, hopefully, in our work, and that you enjoy this case.